In this video, I'm going to be building a web app that helps you figure out what to do for your career using AI. So I will be integrating ElevenLabs conversational AI that you can talk to that will then make a tool call that will then suggest a career for you based on your interest and personality. And then we're also going to build out this beautiful flowchart using React Flow to display all of the various careers. And we're also going to be integrating the OpenAI API such that you can chat with AI to get more details about a specific career. And then we're also going to be integrating the YouTube API so you can watch a YouTube video about how the kind of day-to-day operations look like for a particular career. And we made it full stack so people can add comments to specific careers, such that people can kind of leave reviews on particular career paths and kind of give their opinion on the specific career or job. And also, by the way, the planning process and the initial prompt for this video was quite long and comprehensive. So you could skip that or kind of watch it in 2 speed if you want to, but I highly recommend watching me kind of explaining the prompt, because the initial prompt is kind of a key part of the video because it explains how to actually integrate ElevenLabs and to get the kind of AI automatic career selection and flowchart functionality working. So I recommend watching it, but I just wanted to prepare you guys for that. Either way, let's get started. All right, so here we have the prompt for this particular app. It's a very long prompt. Because I want to kind of make sure that Lovable has all of the context. So I actually decided to write this in Google Docs, and I've just pasted it into Lovable. Partially because I also didn't want to accidentally delete it or press on submit, and also it gives me more, fine-grained control over how this initial prompt should look like. So here I have the prompt, and I'm just gonna go over it. So a web app that helps you find your career. The app should have one page called Tree, where you see a flowchart of all possible career choices in a tree-like diagram. Use React Flow for this. These are the available careers, and here are the careers in the list like this, with this, just to be specific about the name of the various careers. And as you guys can tell, I've written use React Flow for this. And React Flow is a package. And a package is essentially just a bundle of code that someone has already written that you can use within your websites and apps. And Lovable can automatically find these packages and use whichever package fits the specific use case. But in my case, I want to specify that I want to use React Flow because I really, really like their design. So here you can see the design. You can go to examples. You can kind of see how this works. So essentially, React Flow is a way for you to create these diagrams with the nodes that are connected. And that's what we're going to be using for this website. Also, if you search up React popular packages, you can also just explore some of these packages yourself, or libraries is also another name for packages. Now, probably the packages that you would be the most interested in would be related to UI, so some sort of UI functionality, and maybe React animated, or maybe React dashboards. There's probably something called so React dashboards, but Lovable will probably just auto select the best one. Then we also have another description. So in this career tree, you also are supposed to be able to filter out careers by using certain filters, such as the interest filter, the personality filter. Each career has a set of interests and personality associated with it. And the user can filter careers based on these two filters. So the user can select their interests and also their personality to filter out careers. When a career is filtered out, it is simply grayed out in the UI. The node is grayed out. And of course, users can remove and change their filter however the user would like. Here are the available filters. So here we have the personalities, and here we have the interest. Then we also have an onboarding flow, which is really simple. We want a simple password and email sign up, and then the user is taken to an AI, which will have a conversation with them to try to figure out their interest, personality, and best fitted careers. This will be done with ElevenLabs. ElevenLabs public agent for this, here's the public agent ID. So what is ElevenLabs? Well, but essentially ElevenLabs is just a text-to-speech software originally. So you would just type something in right here, and then an AI would narrate it. So you can say, hello, my name is Isaac. And we can play this.
Hello, my name's Isaac.
Essentially, you can do all sorts of voices, which is really cool. But they also have a feature called conversational AI. This is the feature that we will be using for this web app. So the conversational AI allows you to talk with an AI, kind of like you're talking with a human. It's very, very quick. Hello, Eric. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm here to help with any laptop issues you might
Yeah,
be.
my laptop is almost on fire. It's so hot.
I understand that your laptop is running very hot. Is the fan running constantly or making unusual noises?
It is making all sorts of noises.
Okay, that does not sound good. When was the last time you cleaned the vents on your laptop?
But either way, we're going to use this conversational agent and we're going to add it to the website directly. What you do then is that you create this agent in ElevenLabs and you get this agent ID. And the way that you would do this is that you go over to ElevenLabs, log in, and then over here, you might start off at the creative platform, but then you have to switch over to conversational AI. And then you go down to agents, and now you can create an agent. And you can do business agent, personal agent. I'm just gonna press on blank. Let's just call it the career advisor 123. And here we have the agent. So we can select the language of the agent. We can add additional languages. We can select the first message that the agent will say as soon as you kind of call the agent. And then you can have the system prompt of the agent and all of the basic kind of LLM stuff. You can select the model over here. You can select the temperature. The higher the temperature, the more kind of random the agent would be, or the more creative it will be. If you have a lower temperature, it will be more deterministic and reliable kind of. And then we also have the tools. And the tools are the things which we have to kind of pay extra close attention to. So I'm going to get back to my old agent, and I've just called it new agent, and I've actually already created a tool for this agent. So if we go back to the docs here, I've said our agent has a tool called career that the agent can call once the agent feels like it has enough information to fill in the user's interest, personality, and career. So what it means to call a tool is that you're essentially invoking or calling or running a specific function, right? So instead of the AI is writing back to you or saying words back to you, it's going to call or run a function which you have described to the AI. So you're essentially getting this kind of structured output from the AI, which you can then use to run a specific function. And in our case, this function is used to kind of guess or recommend a career to the user based on the user's interests and personality. And we can describe this tool inside of the actual ElevenLabs dashboard. So this is the prompts that I've been using. So the first message I have written is, hello, I'm here to help you figure out your career. You're an helpful career assistant. You help people figure out what to do for work based on their interests, personality, their goals, and so on. You're an expert at this. Once you're confident that you know what career to pick for the user, then you use the career tool to pick the career and pick the user's interest and personality as to filter out the rest of the careers. So, and we also have the lowest temperature. And we also have given the AI the option to end the call by toggling this end call tool. And then we have added this custom career tool right here. So you would just press on add tool, and then you have these different options right here. So here we have the configuration of this tool. So we have the name, it's just called career. And I've written here's where you can input the details that the user has told you, or you can deduct these yourself. Then the user will be taken to the correct career. So you're essentially picking the career for the user. Then we have the parameters of this tool call, of this function. So we have the personality, which we have selected as an array. And what an array means, actually, let me remove this white space right here. I hope that's not inside of the prompt. Let me just double check this. It is inside of the prompt. So I'm just going to adjust that and remove the white space within the prompt. Remember, all of this has to kind of be exactly the same. And there is a button called copy JSON, so you can use that one once you have inputted all of this. But either way, we have selected the data type array, and the array is essentially just a list. And the reason why we have selected list here is because we want the AI to be able to select multiple personalities for this individual. So here we have the different personalities. You can select multiple personalities because this is an array, personalities to choose between. We have the analyst, the creator, the doer, the visionary, the helper, the organizer, and all of these ones. And then we have the item, and the item is essentially like an element within this list. So we've said that the element within this list will just be of type string, and string is just text. So the element within the list will just be a text bit. And I've just described it, add personality here. And then we have another parameter, which is called career, and this is the actual career, and that will just be a string directly because you can only have one career. And yeah, a string is just a bit of text. So we've written here, you can select the career you can recommend for the user. Here are the available careers. And then we have another parameter called interests. And this one also has a bit of white space, I just noticed. So I'm just gonna see if we can remove this white space as well here in the prompt. Right here, I'm just gonna delete that. So we have interest, and this is data type array again, a list, because the user can have multiple interests. And then we have listed the interest right here, and the item is also of type string. And yeah, I've just written that here's where you input the interest. And all of this looks good. So I'm just gonna press on save now. And then we can edit JSON, and we can copy this by pressing on this button right here. And this is essentially the structure that the AI will have in its prompt, such that it knows about this available tool. And it's also the structure which the AI will respond with when the AI has decided which career to pick for the user. So it's important that we copy this and paste it into the prompt right here, which I've already done. We can just do it again. So if we just take all of this, we can just remove it, and then I can just paste it in again for demonstrational purposes, and just making sure that it's all cleaned up. So this is the tool that the AI can call, and these are the options. So now when we include this within the Lovable prompt, Lovable will be aware of this tool. And then we also have the ElevenLabs documentation. So usually Lovable will just figure out how to use an API or how to use an external kind of software within your Lovable app. But in the case of ElevenLabs, are updating their documentation so much that you kind of need to include it within the prompt for it to be, for Lovable to be able to actually use it correctly. So what you can do is go over to ElevenLabs, go to APIs, and go to Quick Start, or you can search it up directly. Okay, and once we're here, we can go over to conversational AI, or you can just go directly there by searching up ElevenLabs, conversational AI API. ElevenLabs conversational AI API. And then you will be taken to the docs. And then API, I think we already went over this before, but an API is a way for another kind of software or service to interact with your website or your software or service programmatically. So it's a kind of an interface, programmatic interface that you use to interact with external services. And in this case, we're using ElevenLabs API. So we have the overview right here, and I just pressed on copy page, and then I just pasted this within the prompt right here. And then I did the same for some other parts of the documentation. So I copy pasted the quick start as well. So I went over here, quick start, copy this, and pasted it in right here. And then I did the same for the client tools section of the documentation. So I went over here to tools, and then to client tools, and then I copied this, and I pasted this as well into the Lovable prompt. And the reason why I picked client tools and not server tools or not system tools is because we don't actually want to interact with ElevenLabs through the server. We want to do it directly through our client. And the client is just kind of the front end. So we want to interact with ElevenLabs directly through the front end, which means that we won't actually be using any kind of private API keys. We will just be using this public agent ID instead, which is kind of different from what we usually do when we interact with like OpenAI. Then we have to go through the server and actually provide an API key. Either way, once we have pasted in all of these documentations within the prompt, I have one more kind of thing that I have in the prompt. So we are using the client tool. I just added that in parentheses for Lovable to just to be as clear as possible to Lovable. And then I have added, once the AI has called the tool, the information should display to the user, and the user should be able to press on accept or redo or use the X at the top right. If the user presses on accept, the user should be taken to the tree page with all of the filters that the AI selected applied. Also note, sometimes ElevenLabs might pick a career and select interests/personalities that are not aligned with the career. If ElevenLabs does that, this is totally fine. It sounds weird, but it's fine, and we must accept it and still allow the career to be accepted. So in the tree page, if a career has been selected/pressed on, it will not be grayed out, even if it's supposed to be based on the filters. So essentially, even if ElevenLabs picks a career that is not actually associated with the interests and the personality that the ElevenLabs AI has selected, it should still not cause any errors. That's what I'm saying. Because, yeah, I mean, maybe the user just wants a career which isn't aligned with his interests. And then I've also here just written the career tree structure, just so Lovable has that when creating the actual graph flowchart. And of course, I used ChatGPT to generate this. And here we have some styling guides. I also used ChatGPT to create these styling guides as well. I think that's it. I've covered this prompt. It was very, very extensive, but now we can paste it into Lovable. All right, but before we submit this prompt, I'm going to connect up Supabase because we want email and password login, which we need Supabase for. So you have to authenticate your Supabase organization if you haven't done that, and also maybe create a Supabase account if you haven't done that. So Supabase is our backend provider, and here I can just name the project. I'm just gonna call it Career Web App, and then we can just create a password, create a new project. We have to wait for the status to turn green. There we go, and now we can connect up the project right there. And then I'm gonna press on submit. All right, and now Lovable is just gonna start coding this project for us. All right, so here we have the result, Vocabloom. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but Lovable has now cooked up this from the first prompt. So let's give it a try. Start your journey. An account, and hopefully we should have our chat thing. Yes, discover your perfect career.
Hello, I'm here to help you figure out your career.
Hi, nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. To give you the best career advice, I need a little more information about you. Could you tell me about your interests and what you're good at?
I like math. I like to be in nature. I like to um uh, I like to work out. I like philosophy, and I think that's it.
Okay, that's a great start. So you're interested in math, nature, working out, and philosophy. That gives me a good starting point. Now, could you tell me a little bit about your personality? For example, would you describe yourself as someone who likes to take charge, or do you prefer to work behind the scenes? Are you creative, analytical, outgoing, or more introverted?
I would say I like to take charge, and I would say I'm pretty creative. And I don't know what I would fall in terms of the introvert outrovert spectrum.
Okay, so you like to take charge, you're creative, and you're somewhere in the middle on the introvert extrovert spectrum. Based on your interests and personality, I think I have a good idea of a career for you. I think you would be a great entrepreneur. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, that sounds really fun. But entrepreneur is very, very broad. So maybe we should be more specific here.
You're absolutely right. Entrepreneur is quite broad. To narrow it down, is there a particular field that appeals to you, given your interests in math, nature, working out, and philosophy? Perhaps a tech startup with a focus on sustainability, a fitness related business, or something else entirely.
I'm thinking maybe longevity. What about the longevity startup?
Okay, a longevity startup sounds interesting.
Or
Given
what
your
about the
interests,
AI startup?
an AI startup is also a great idea. Given your interest in math, that could be a good fit. So, between a longevity startup and an AI startup, do you have a preference?
Let's go with AI startup.
Okay, that sounds great. So, I'm going to go ahead and lock in entrepreneur as your career and AI as your field. I'll also include your interests and personality traits. Here we go. All right, I have locked in entrepreneur as your career
All right,
with
I'm
the
just gonna
interests of
accept this
math.
then. And here we have the tree. Wow, this is really nice. So here we have the interests. And we can see we have selected math, working out, philosophy. Then we have the personalities. And as you can see, we have these things which are not filtered out, and the rest are filtered out. So we can kind of focus in on the things which would be relevant to us based on these filters. So we see that the entrepreneur is selected over here, which is perfect. And we also have this kind of structure. And one thing that I noticed here is that these kind of edges here on these nodes are kind of a bit not messed up, but we probably want the edges to be to the right because this tree is to the right. Or we would want to flip the entire tree for so it actually goes from top down instead of this kind of left to right action. So what I am gonna do is I'm going to try to change it such that we have a top down tree. I'm just gonna say, all right, can we please flip the career tree 90 degrees in the clock axis? Because right now it's going from left to right, but we want it to go from top to bottom, like a reverse tree. And also make sure that the edges and the nodes are aligned with that structure. All right, so let's see. I believe Lovable is finished now, but I can't quite see anything, which is not good at all. Okay, so I opened up the preview link, and now I can actually see things. But I noticed that we should probably have these things in the middle, like that, kind of. And then we should also connect up the root tree, the root node. So I think this looks good. It's a very large, it's a very big tree, and we need to make sure that they're centered. So I'm gonna do another prompt. Nice, perfect. I believe we solved the issue. But make sure that the kind of root nodes that we have, such as technology and so on, that they're actually centered horizontally with respect to their own branches. So right now they're to the far left of their branches, but we want it to be centered. And of course, we still want it to be in the same kind of vertical axis. We still want it to be at the top, but just centered horizontally. Also, can we make it such that all of these base nodes are connected to one root node called career, which is in the middle of the whole reverse tree, which is the ultimate root node. Okay, let's just send that. And I think that's gonna make everything look a bit better. And yeah, if we press over there, we get spawned into the middle, it seems like, which is nice. And yeah, I think this makes sense. And we can add our own filters. So let's say I'm interested in space, robotics, data analysis, physics, engineering, and I am an analyst, visionary creator, doer, organizer, explorer. Then these are my kind of recommended career paths, which is really cool. Investment analyst, industrial designer, epidemiologist, physicist, astrophysicist, machine learning engineer, quant analyst, data scientist, software engineer. And of course, we can also add more details such as salaries and so on. Okay, let's give this a try now. Yes, this looks good. Okay, now everything is kind of connected here. And we have the career as the top node. I'm gonna open this up in the preview link because it's very it's a very extensive and wide graph, which makes a lot of sense because there are many careers which you can choose from. Maybe this is not like the most perfect UI for this particular type of app, but I wanted to give it a try. And of course, you can use a similar UI for a bunch of other use cases. So this is more like kind of demonstrational, I would say. Now, we also, I think, need to be able to press on these nodes and get more details. And what we can do is that we can use AI to generate all of the details dynamically. Let's now make it such that you can press on these nodes, and when you press on them, you will be taken to a dynamic page with a bunch of structured data about a particular career, such as the salary, the job description, if it's remote or not, and stuff like that. And you should also be able to filter based on these properties, such as salary and remote or not, or is remote an option? Maybe should be a filter. And stuff like that. So create all of this data and make it so you can press on the nodes. And then if we want to, we can include even more things within this prompt. And I'm actually going to give that a try. So one of the things I think would be cool within this website is that if you were able to chat with an AI about a particular career. So I'm going to add that. So I'm going to go over to OpenAI, OpenAI API platform. Then I'm going to go over here, and then I'm also going to include in the prompt. Also, can we add some AI functionality such that when you press on one of these career nodes and you get taken to all of the information about this particular career, you can also chat with an AI about the career and you can ask questions about it. And maybe we can also make it such that you can watch a YouTube video about the career, kind of to see how the day-to-day of the job looks like. So use use the YouTube API to retrieve videos about the career and display those videos in the structured format. Okay, so these are a lot of things, but I think this will be very cool. Also, make it such that someone can add comments to a specific career, kind of like YouTube comments. So you can add a comment to a career and be like, oh, I really like this career. I did this for 5 years or whatever. So users can add comments to careers. Okay, I'm just gonna send that. And we already have the backend connected, so the comment functionality will work and we're authenticated. And now that we are over here, we should be able to press on one of these ones. So let's press on the career path over here, software engineer. Okay, we can't press on it. Okay, great, but we can't press on the node and it doesn't work. Like I can't press on the node. All right. Seems like Double has identified the issue. So I'm just gonna go to OpenAI API key. Oh, I mean OpenAI, not Lovable. OpenAI API key. And then I'm just gonna call it the Lovable Career App. Create secret key. Copy this. This is secret, so gonna hide that in editing. And then I'm gonna press on Add API key and paste that in. And now it's going to be safely stored on the backend. Okay, so now this should work. Let's give this a try. I'm gonna press on machine learning engineer. Oh, we can't press on it. Okay, this is actually kind of bad. Okay, nice, but we still can't press on the nodes. I don't know why, but we should be able to press on the nodes and we can't do it. I don't know why we can't do it. It could be because we are in drag mode. We shouldn't actually be able to drag around things. I think we should just be able to click on things. We should be able to drag them around. Should just be able to click on careers, and when we click on them, we get taken to that page. All right, so let's see now. Okay, hopefully we should be able to press on these now. Okay, wait, actually these are base roots, so it doesn't make sense that we can press on. We should be able to press on these ones. Yes, and we can. Career overview. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, career overview. Experiences. Chat. Hello. What does the machine learning engineer do day to day? Okay, machine learning is rolling. Yeah. Okay, nice. Resources. Search. Okay, and then it just searches it out manually, which is fine, but that's not what we want. And we want to be able to log in to share your experiences. I thought I already was logged in. Okay, perfect. Now, there are a couple of things we need to fix. We need to firstly make it such that the YouTube thing is actually like a native integration. Like you should be able to see the YouTube video embedded within the website. And we might have to use an external API for that. Just tell me which. And then also, it says that I have to log in, even though I'm logged in. I should be logged in on the tree page. And it says that I have to log in to be able to add comments, even though I should already be logged in. So maybe we can make the tree page more intuitive in terms of, is the user logged in or not? Right now it looks kind of empty, like there's no nav bar at the top, for instance. Maybe you can, in the nav bar, we can see if we're logged in, we can also navigate and so on. So please fix that issue. All right, nice. So now we have this sign in button, and we should be able to just sign in. I think maybe the sign in the beginning was like just not real. I don't know, it was kind of like a fake sign in. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it was actually created in an account. Hello. Okay, can we just select a random career for me? Just select the career for me. I just need the career quickly. This is for testing purposes.
Okay, I can help with that. To give you the best recommendation, could you tell
No,
me a little
testing
bit?
purposes. Just select something.
Okay, I will select a career for you for.
Nice, but we have the same issue. We have the same issue for some reason. But we have the same issue where it says I'm not logged in even though I am logged in. Please fix the login authentication functionality. Fix things. And then it's telling me that I need to get this API key. So YouTube integration. I've created a YouTube embed component that shows how to integrate YouTube videos natively. That shows get your YouTube data API key v3 from your Google Cloud Console. I'm just gonna search this up. Get started, and then go to API console. Search YouTube data API v3. Enable this API. Then we'll probably get like a private API key or maybe a public API. Yeah, it's a public API, so we might get a public API key. Here it seems like we have the key. And we want it to restrict it to a website, and we want to restrict it to this website right here. So I'm just gonna select the preview URL and add that right here. Of course, I've actually already selected a project that I was working on in a previous video, but you'll probably have to create your own Google Cloud project and then add the preview URL. We might even also want to add the actual sandbox URL, which is the URL right here. And now if I press save and I go back into Lovable, okay, it seems like we have to confirm our email address. So that was the issue. So now we should be able to log in. Because now we have created this account, sign in. +4. There we go. Now we're logged in. Hello.
Hello, I'm here
Yes,
to help
can
you
you
figure
use
out your
the
career.
this is for experimental purposes. I'm testing out the application. So can you please just select a random career for me?
Okay, I will call the tool now with a randomly selected career, interests, and personality. Is that correct?
Okay,
Okay,
nice. Social media manager. And now if we press on our career and we press on it, we can add comments. Let's go. Oh my god, we can add a lot of details here. We can do lovable, and we can do Sweden, and we can add the salary range and all of this information. Is all of this necessary, or can we just, yeah, we can just save it. So yeah, this was fantastic. And I can just be like, this is really nice. Highly recommend. You can save it and it will be over there. Really, really cool, I think. And you might even be able to implement some sort of verification system here where the company can verify, or maybe they can like search on LinkedIn. I don't know. You might be able to find it somewhere. Maybe if you're mentioned on the career page on the company, somehow it can be verified through using AI or something. I don't know. That's probably quite complicated though. And yeah, and here we have the API. Okay, I haven't enabled it yet. So we used to have this rigmarole video right here. But I guess this is kind of an example of how it could look like once it's enabled. So let's copy our API key here and show key, and it's just a public key. So we can use, I'm just gonna be explicit with Lovable about that this is a public key, and we're not too worried about it showing up. So we don't just want to add it. I'm gonna go back to Lovable again. You're like, okay, perfect. And here is my public YouTube API key, and you can just hard code it in the code. It doesn't have to be dynamic because it's a public key, so it can be in the front end. And then I'm gonna paste it in right there. And boom, there we go. And because this is a public key, we don't have to press on add key or anything like that, and we can just show it. And we can hard code it. And hard code essentially means that you're not making it a dynamic property. You're like putting it into the actual code itself and not into some sort of CRM, like some sort of backend or anything. You're just putting it into the code, not in the database. All right, nice. So now we have the skip button. So now we should be able to just skip this and press on a career and then go to resources. And it's like we have to press on search. And maybe nothing pops up. Not sure what the issue might be. Of course, it doesn't work on the actual sandbox. This is called the sandbox within Lovable, the preview within Lovable. It doesn't work because we only have the preview URL right here on Google. So if we want to add a sandbox, then we need to add the sandbox URL. And we probably have a console error here telling us that the sandbox is not a part of the Google list. So let's see here. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go over and press on this right here. I'm going to press on this component using the select tool in the inspect view. And if you're on Safari, this might be a bit annoying. But essentially, if you're on Safari, I'm just going to show you guys how you would do it. So on Safari, you might have to enable developer tools. So to do that, you go over here, you go up here to settings, right over here, developer or advanced, and then you press on show features for web developers. And then all of this is going to show, and you will be able to access, let's say we went on to Facebook. Then you can right click and press on inspect element, and then you can press over here, and then you can inspect these elements. And what you want to find is the URL. So I'm going to go back to Google now, and I'm going to press on this, and I'm going to try to find the sandbox URL. You can search for sandbox and try to find the correct sandbox, which is this one right here. Okay, you can just press on it and you can see that it gets highlighted. And then you want to find the URL. So it's this URL right here where it says document. And then you can just press on open new tab, and you can see that we have the preview URL right here. And actually, we can open this one as well. See that both of these ones are the preview URL. And we can just be extra sure. We can see that these ones are the same. And what we want to do is that we want to get this URL, want to copy it, go back here, and then we want to press on add, and then add this URL as well. So now we have, and then press on save, of course. So now we have both the preview URL over here, and we also have the sandbox URL. That's how the sandbox URL looks like. And make sure you're not including all of these subpaths. We just want the base of the URL, which is this right here. Now, we may have to wait 5 minutes for this to actually work. Or we don't, and it just works immediately. Nice. And now we can watch these videos, and we can see how a UX designer actually works. So let's just press on one of these ones, Professor. And then Professor Career Day in a Life. We can watch one of these videos. Let's do biomedical researcher. Here we go. Here we have a day in a life. And I think this is really cool, actually. Yeah, I think this is really, really cool. And we can chat, we can get an overview. And yeah, this is awesome. We've created this whole career web app. Of course, you can build on top of this, and you can add so many features. But I think this is good to go. So I'm just going to publish this and call it a day. So I will link this website below, and I will also link the Lovable project so you guys can access it and kind of see the prompts and also remix it if you want to. I will set the visibility to public, so it's publicly accessible. And then here we also have the message count and also, I guess, the AI edits count. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But either way, thanks for watching this video, and comment below what more projects I should build that could be interesting. Maybe there are certain APIs that you want me to use, or maybe there are just certain processes that you want to learn more. And also, if you want to try Lovable yourself, you can just press the link in the description. Lovable is free to try out. But yeah, see you in the next video. Bye bye.